evening, everybody. My name is Jennifer, and I would like to welcome you to this part of the IQMF festival. We're gonna have a talk. Who speaks for whom? We're gonna have a talk. I don't want to call it a discussion because is there anything to discuss about if you will speak for yourself? I don't know, but we are going to find out. I have a panel of amazing, beautiful, colorful spirits that will talk to me, that will talk to you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Put them in the chat. And if your question is relatable, appropriate, I will ask your questions. If you feel like playing the devil's advocate or doing weird stuff, please don't. Ain't nobody got time for that. But other than that, feel welcome and free to join us in conversation. Let's see, because we're gonna reflect on the queer, the Dutch queer scene, activism scene, what's going on, what's also the new year gonna bring us, what has been happening to different organizations in 2020 within all of the Rona. How are they surviving? How did they survive? And how are they gonna bloom, or did they get any gems out of this? Okay, so now I'm gonna introduce my panel to you. I have first and foremost from Queer is Not a Manifesto, I got Aynouk, Sorab Rustayar, and Minnie Maxwell. Hello.
Hello, Jennifer.
How are you?
12 points. Oh no, that's another festival. Yes.
How is everybody doing?
Great.
Yes.
Very good. Yes, we have a theme for tonight. It's green.
Oh, okay, I get it. Green.
Yes, we're doing good. It's warm inside.
It's warm. That's a good thing.
Well, please, we are the future. We are nature. We are everything.
Future, nature, and it's hot.
What do you want more?
Everything. Okay, let me introduce the rest. So I also have Thimothy Aarons from the Caribbean Queer Salon. Thimothy Aarons, also known as Tim. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
I say, are you ready for tonight?
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, ready, set, and go. All right, and I also have Alejandra, Ortiz, and Paula Chaves Bonilla from Papaya Queer. Yes. Hello, beautiful panel. Everybody's here. Everybody's queer. Get or do not get used to it. So starting from the beginning, I'm going to start with the first that I introduced. Queer is Not a Manifesto. Could you please tell us a little bit about your organization? Because what we do know is that there was it was launched in February 2019, Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam. And it's a podium on which many interpretations of the notion queer are proudly presented.
Yes.
It's just yours.
Yes, well, the organization started in 2019, and I was asked to do a Stedelijk statement, which is an evening where people can take over, and we decided to name that Queer is Not a Manifesto. And basically the thing about the night was that we also tried to make the Stedelijk Museum a safe space, because the museums, like institutions, are not, a lot of the time, they are not safe. If you look at Stedelijk, for instance, they have a very white, cis, patriarchal collection. A lot of queer people don't feel safe in the museum because they're not represented, but also because they are not, the personnel, the staff, for instance, is not asking for pronouns or has gender binary toilets, for instance. These are all very banal things.
It doesn't reflect them in any way.
Sorry?
It doesn't reflect them. You can't see yourself there. You can mirror yourself there.
Exactly, and that can go with a lot of violence. If I walk into the museum like that, it is also like this, for instance. There's a lot of questions that don't feel safe, for instance. So what was very important in February is that we tried to make to change the conditions, basically, to make all the staff ask pronouns for people when they come in, to have people of color working there during the night. And that is a very good, important thing for Queer is Not a Manifesto then, but also for in the future, that we want to create our own conditions. So first, institutions with whom we're working with need to be safe for people to come in there. And in that sense, we are very much about advocacy. We're also very much about influencing of policy. For instance, we're doing now a project with the gemeente of Amsterdam. And it's also very important if you want to make space for queer groups in an institution like the gemeente, that the gemeente knows that their organization, first of all, need to be safe and that they need to ask the right questions for us to be completely ourselves, let's say, or part of ourselves.
Yeah, but do they then realize that indeed that first step to do so, and also to ask those right questions, that you have to have these bodies, these people within your organization at the table, or else it'll be, let's fly this one in for the project and do that, and then go out again.
Yeah, it is like that, because the municipality, of course, they have like this started this new project of how they should fund subsidies at the organization, but it's all created by their own conditions, which means it's a white system, it's a patriarchal system, it's like and that means that the groups, the fundamental grassroots movement from queers, but also on anti-racist movements, they don't fit that subsidy. So the question, if the municipality does anything for us to be part, then actually not, because we are the ones who needs to change those conditions. It's not going by the politics by itself.
No, indeed.
To wrap it up in a sentence, you cannot be white, cis, heterosexual and talk about diversity, because it's a very personal experience. You don't know what questions you need to be asked, and that's exactly the problem with this system, that the policy makers also need to be as diverse as the policy they are making. So the personal in that sense is very political.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you for that. And Thimothy,
I would like to say one thing. Is that okay?
Yes, Minnie, go.
Yeah, I would like to say one thing, because I was once in a museum in Den Haag, from all places, place that could be nice, of course. And then I got this question from a security guy, saying to me, "You are the first Black person that I'm seeing in museum, And I thought, what the fuck, where is this question coming from? How,
Yeah, and that is someone that is employed there, works there. So instead of being welcome, that is the first attack you get while being in this space, minding mine,
Yeah, and then also this question, where you coming from? And I said, from planet Earth. Fuck off. What do you mean? Mean? Where are you coming from?
From Earth.
From I always say from the womb of a woman. That's always mine. I was like, oh, I'm from the womb of a woman, like you.
Yeah, that is also a good thing, of course.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Of course it's ridiculous. But I normally say, what do you mean? Ask me where I'm going. Ask me where am I going? Don't ask me where I'm from. Where am I going? I'm walking.
I'm gonna ask you and the rest of the manifesto in a few where you're going, because of course we would like to know what are the plans for the future. But for now, I would like to do a quick tune in with Thimothy Queer, Caribbean Queer Salon. I always flip it around. Caribbean Queer Salon, initiated by you. And because that is also filling up a safe space for queer, trans people from English-speaking Caribbean can openly and honestly talk about issues or anything that affects them. Where was this idea born? Can you tell us a little bit about the organization?
So the organization is relatively new. It's only a year old. So I started it in 2019. Which is 2019 coming into 2020, craziest year to start something, but we're still here, so that's good.
Here.
And for me, I think it was just born out of my personal experience and seeing how that specific group was being reported about in Dutch media, perceptions that people would have, and even within the queer community. So I, figured to myself, it would be good to start something, because if you don't speak for yourself, then ultimately somebody creates a narrative, they pin it on you, and there are consequences based on it.
Indeed, indeed. That's the who speaks for whom, right? If you do not will speak for yourself, somebody else will, and then you will have to take your time to go and correct them. And
Yep.
if you have the ability to make that safe space for yourself and for yours, do so.
Yeah.
Right. And what is what is it? Do you have like in the meantime, did you have events? Is the plan to have weekly, monthly get-togethers? What is the aim of the Caribbean Queer Salon?
So we've had a couple, we were able to have a couple of physical events. We had about 4 physical events, because ideally it would have been one event per month. So monthly events for the year. We had about 4 before everything with Corona hit. And it was just a safe space for, like I said, English speaking Caribbean people, or of, Caribbean descent, to talk about their issues, talk about things that they were facing, things that were specific to them. Because there are a number of issues that are specific to us.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even when you talk about queerness, BIPOC, that sort of thing, there are a number of issues that are even more specific to us.
Yeah.
So let me give you an example. Immigration, that's a huge issue. Language,
Yeah.
that's a huge issue. Understanding Dutch bureaucracy, because that underpins everything. Because bureaucracy here is crazy,
Yeah.
even for me, and it's something I've had to deal with in other places that I've lived before. But like Dutch bureaucracy, yeah. So
Yeah,
like all of these little issues, a lot of people were coming to me privately, having private conversations. How do you resolve this? How do you resolve that? And I realized that I was becoming a fixer without the title. So I just decided to formalize it, really.
right. Put it on there. Thank you.
Yeah.
And because I already saw the finger snapping and head nodding and agreeing, Papaya Queer, Alejandra and Paula. And this is a collective of trans and queer Latinx asylum seekers and artists who have been organizing events for the last 3 years or so.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization and its aim?
So we basically start organizing. Our first event was like we were just recalling today earlier with Alejandra. It was actually October 2017, so it's gonna be 3-year anniversary. It was informal in the sense that we were not a collective yet. It was an initiative that I started having out of hunger of like, okay, finding my community, finding Latino queers, like first generation Latinos, queers, and also seeing that that there was no, like, where is my community? There was no community because I'm not a second generation migrant. So I also am not a Dutch queer person. And I'm also not a straight Colombian, right? So I can also not merge within that, and like within the searching for the community, and like also realizing, okay, we there is a need for that. We started like coming together with Alejandra. The first time that it was in October 2017, it was with Leah, which is a really important like activist, trans Latina activist from Mexico. And from there I started organizing and realizing, okay, there is no place for us. We are in this invisible space also because we are migrants. We are asylum seekers, we're refugees. So so there's a lot of precarity involved in us before we can actually organize.
And this also links with what Thimothy said, right? The specifics of the situation that you get. So you need to also be able to talk and link with the people that know that this is a specific situation for me, for us that are alike in that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let me add to it. Just like Timothy said, there are many intricacies about being an immigrant. and being a queer immigrant and being a trans immigrant, and on top of that also being a refugee and asylum seeker, someone who doesn't fit in on the mainstream, not even on
Mhm.
the mainstream of queer culture.
Yeah,
And so
indeed.
just like Timothy explained, there are these issues, these questions, these don't know how to navigate into Dutch society. And in the case of us asylum seekers, refugees, there's no knowledge about who to contact if you are in a refugee center, or if you want to get hormones, or if you don't speak the language. I mean, even though many people or most people here speak English, very few people or less people speak Spanish. So then the
Mhm.
circle becomes much smaller, right? And to complement what Paula said, there is this thing that we want, and I think Timothy probably will agree with this, that we want Dutch queers to understand, even BPOC or bicultural Dutch queers, is that the needs of refugees and the need the migrants can be different and have
Yeah,
their own special niche even within this culture. So it's very important. I agree
yeah.
completely with Timothy. It's important that that we speak for ourselves, because if we become part of the bigger narrative, our own narrative will be erased. So
Yes,
Paula and I came to this conclusion with other friends to make this group happen out of need, out of this need.
indeed. Thank you all for explaining that. Because if you look at the diverse queer Dutch queer community within the Netherlands, right? Is there are are the right people being are the right people in the right places? You know, is it represented? Is it represented well enough? Who is missing? Let's go. Yes, and don't feel restricted within your answer.
So much to say with that one,
You keep calm and love on.
because you saw the cup. Because the thing for me is, you have a lot of people who, for better or worse, I think of them as props.
Mm-hmm,
They're
mm-hmm.
kind of there, they're figureheads. You have one or two of the same people over and over again,
You see them.
and yeah, you see them everywhere, and they're okay with being props as long as it gets them where they need to go. And that for me can be problematic, because I don't mind if you're the only one. It has to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is that you're okay with being a token because you're getting a check, you're good, it's advancing your academic and social career, and then fuck all to the rest of everybody, then that's a
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Yes, absolutely. But is it, and for instance, to say, because indeed you have these token person and within your organization, because the thing is, indeed, it isn't a problem if you're the only one. Just make sure that you don't stay the only one there, right? Because you can create awareness if you have that seat on the table, raise your voice, but also make aware that, hey, I am the only one here. Even addressing that only
Yeah.
is making those people and those organizations aware of, yo, you got a problem. You want to talk about diversity on paper, but in real life.
Hmm.
So that's the thing. Where do you stop explaining certain shit to I don't know if I can say that as a moderator, but where do you stop explaining that and
but
being
You never stop. The onus is always on you, I feel like, because at the end of the day, it's tied to your experience. It's tied to a lot of value added things in your life. So
Mhm,
theoretically speaking, it shouldn't be my job to explain any of this.
mhm.
But the reality is, it affects the quality of my life.
Yeah,
So
true.
then the responsibility, comes on my shoulder, whether I like it or not.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So what up? You wanted to add something?
Yeah, because I think like the people being tokenized and people accepting doing that and thinking that
They're changing stuff,
and
maybe.
go, like trying to be the change. But we passed that station in 2020. Like in the past 20 years, several people tried to change on their own within an institution, and that didn't work out. So we know by now, and also from the past and history has shown us, that one individual cannot change a whole system, that you have to work with each other. So even that person is going into an institution and thinking like, so I'm going to change the whole system. That's just not fucking possible. So and in order to like within the mainstream, within the mainstream LGBT community, we are not being represented at all. And if it comes to the community itself, then we represent ourselves. But the thing is that we are not able to grow from here to there, because there's always a gap, and white people are like pushing us all the time down, by not like pushing us by silencing us, but also with resources, with money, the way institutions are being built, also with the municipality, the way they have arranged this whole subsidy is giving the opportunity for the big organizations who are gaining always money to have the opportunity to gain the money, and the small organizations who have always get it with getting the money, they are now still struggling to get the fucking money, because we don't have the resources, we don't have the money to organize ourselves, and yet we are like trying to do things to change the whole circle. And in order to do that, we are like trying to get the white alliances, also white organizations on our side, so we know that we can grow. So we have to even negotiate with that part when we actually want to be to have a table on our own conditions.
Yeah, because that's the thing. That's where I wanted to go, because some will say then indeed, if they don't want you at their table, build your own. But at the same time, in real world, how does that work within your organization? Is that is it possible?
Well, if you don't have the resources and you don't have the money, then it's fucking difficult. So what happens is that the community is actually building on it, on the community itself. What happens is that you see that people are organizing benefits and organizing other parties to gain the money from actually the community, so we can organize again another meeting for the community. Like last year, I actually wanted to label one of the paper monies to see how the money is going to float within the community.
Yeah.
And what you need actually is injection from outside of the community, within the community, so we get something to lift up. And I agree that we need to build our own tables, but in order to do that, we need to get the resources somewhere. To start.
Can I say something, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, on the point of Timothy, like that you have to explain yourself all the time, and which is like very tiring, and we all know this. And I think like if you don't understand, then you don't understand. But there was like,
to accept that some things are not for them to understand, some things are not for them, some things are not even meant to be processed by them. They want to know everything.
Yeah, and Ahmed, from a friend of mine, Somalian Dutch, living around the world, he said, pass the mic on the white people.
Pass on the mic on that.
Pass the mic. He said, like, literally, I phrase his thing, pass the mic on the white. I pass the mic on the white people. And I think it's such a good thing, because like, I think like sometimes you don't understand each other, and then they like what I'm saying, they wouldn't take it from me, but they would take it like from a white person.
Yeah.
And then it's good that the white person is saying it, know?
Yeah, but that's also like they need to talk amongst each other. I cannot, if we all agree, this is the problem, we know this, and that person outside there doesn't get it, but from because we're having it's the same thing as sometimes when you have certain conversations in every panel. There was a while, and it was very hot topic. Let's have a person out of the LGBTQIA community at the table, and it would be a very plus if you check a few boxes, and then question, What was it like for you to come out? What was, you know, can you explain this term for me? Can you start
Yep,
from
yep.
the beginning? While we're already in the middle of the line, no, let's go to the beginning. At a certain point, you need to say, nah, do your research and then come talk to me, or then
It
invite
was
me.
always the same 5 questions.
Indeed,
Oh,
or invite your person, indeed, that can translate it to your color and then get back to us. So I think that's
Mhm.
also very important, uh, indeed, to do and to keep doing. So you don't have to sometimes, you know, re-scratch that wound so someone can say, oh shit, indeed, it bleeds. I already told you. You know, so I think that's a very strong thing that is happening and should continue. But I would
yeah,
also like to know from y'all how it's going, because we are in very crazy, weird times. Rona is here, and I don't think Rona will leave very soon. Within all of this going on, how did you as a queer community kept connecting with each other, or within the organization, or maybe with other organizations during this lockdown? Because clubs got closed, safe spaces got closed. How did you keep connecting with each other?
I mean, I want to jump on that, like also bridging to the topic before, because like for our collective, we're never connected. We don't have spaces. We are spread among like different refugee centers. Some of them like don't even have a house. We don't have a space. So
Oh,
there is no
yeah.
sort of, you know, there has never been a space for migrants and asylum, queers and trans people. That's
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah.
So actually it was really interesting, like in the lockdown is actually the time that, because there was like, okay, these few spaces where sometimes the people could come, or like parties that were organized for like other groups, like Spaka, that is also like queer and trans like migrants group. Then we started just like really just bonding with each other, because that was all that we had.
Yes.
So like in the houses, calling each other, we start like doing films together, just really taking care of each other and being depressed together, talking about how shitty we feel, listening to each other in a place that we feel extremely lonely. And a lot of people from our community are very alone because they are in very precarious and hostile spaces in their house 24/7 all the time.
Yep.
So out of that need, for example, now our houses are like full of people. Like there is just 2 people from our collective that actually have a house. Out of like, we are now a collective of 5-6 people. There's gonna come more, and probably we're gonna keep on being the only 2 people who have a house. So like literally hosting and fully in our house with with people. And that is also that we need, and that there is also a lack. Like the community hasn't been so solidar, honestly. It's really difficult that people open the doors for migrants and for refugees and asylum seekers. Very, very difficult. Also within the Dutch youth scene, even. Not everyone, of course, but it's difficult.
No, but it is indeed a thing that is real, you know.
yeah, but for refugees and for sex workers, you know, who couldn't do their work but still didn't get like money from the government like that other people would get it, and of course refugees not, or undocumented especially. But then but one thing that we should also not forget is also about if it comes to violence, like what you have, like you live, if you have a space, you are lucky to have a space, and in this space there is violence happening, and then within Corona there is no place to go, you know. So I think like that there is more violence than the Corona itself. But then
absolutely, because you are not. Some people are not safe in their homes. They should go home, and I think that was if Rona brought anything to light, is that indeed, and that we need to acknowledge that, and say that out loud, and also be like, okay, but what is my role in that? Because we cannot only be involved with each other in talks when there is it's Pride Week, and then
and then also is nothing. And then
we exist all year long.
And then there is also like you know so as being queer people, like, you know, and having like some little spaces where you come like on Wednesday at the Frankrijk or whatever, and then you have like only contact like once in a week because you think like I will see you there, and then you don't have like contact of like phone numbers and these kind of things. So there are a lot of people are like lonely, depression if it comes to like violence towards us already, you know. And so so for me, I'm from the clubbing. I am like clubber from punk, from techno music, and from like that.
How do you think? What is it a tool? Maybe it's a small thing, you know, because even this normally we would come together, be there in real life. What would be one of the tools or answers we could use into making sure that people get checked up on, you know, and people, how do you solve this? And you don't do it alone. So what is there something your organization does for itself, or is there something anybody else would do without the maybe even from outside the queer community, or what is a tool that's needed to make it more of a us problem? Because a lot of the time they're like, oh yeah, but this is not my problem, this is your problem. Our problem. Just racism is our problem, it's not my problem, it's our problem.
Because we all live in the world together, ultimately.
So me myself, if I can talk, and then I will shut up. I'm sorry. So I put on Facebook like, darlings, I'm here for you. Please contact me. Whatever happens, like, you know, if I can do groceries, if I can do something. And there were like some people who sent me message, but like not everyone dares to do that. And then there was like Roani Mosua, who contacted me about like to start something together, which is called like Queer Relief. And then we were checking on people on like if they needed, for example, we had like, for example, somebody who needed like a psychologist, like, you know, to find someone, like, you know, to make like these connections.
Yeah, so checking in is one of those too, because it can be a real small thing. Check in, a call, but indeed offering to do groceries. Yes, please. Oh,
you know, the thing is, like, it's amazing what Paula just told about the help they're doing for the community and what we could do for each other. But the thing is that we are structurally being oppressed. This community is structurally being oppressed. That means that the group itself is already super vulnerable, and not being vulnerable as in itself, but we are being put in a position where we are getting more vulnerable and vulnerable. What happens is that we have like social isolation, psychological problems, money problems, so many other issues that are being faced. And at the end, what we are doing is actually asking ourselves, how can we again help the community? So what happens is went back to their own houses and started to take care of themselves because they were only able to take care of themselves. And I cannot blame anyone within the community that they didn't raise their hands or give help to another people, because it's not our responsibility, because we are put in this position, and at the end the municipality or whatever institutions are asking us to do their work while we are being put there. So I think the thing is that we should recognize also that we can, that there is some kind of luggage we are carrying with us, and we cannot carry the burden from everyone and the community within us, because there are so many things we are facing ourselves, and I think that's the job of the fucking government to do that, and not us.
Because at a certain point, you will reach your ceiling as what you can do yourself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially when your basket isn't full to begin with, you know, so it's...
And at the same time, I mean, because I totally hear what you're saying, and Thimothy, you know, like, and I'm also really excited about also having this conversation. And yeah, I don't know. I feel some of kind of, I mean, also because we know each other, but some kind of comraderness between each other, which I'm like, oh, that's great, because I do agree with you. We don't have the right to blame anyone from the community because of the reasons you just explained.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm a little bit annoyed also with myself and bored, because I feel that the system, and that is a white Eurocentric system, puts us all the time against us.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been clever enough to say, like, fuck off, we're not against each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're not against the black because we're not black. We're fully supporting that. Stop putting us in that thing, please.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our responsibility that we stand up and like change the narrative and really work from solidarity, you know, and raise up against them. And that is our responsibility to do that, so that we push them and not each other all the time. Huh? I also find sometimes we're very hostile with each other. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And are any of you currently working on maybe projects indeed towards that way? Because some would say, indeed, if you say, yes, I can only reach this far into helping ourselves, but the government needs to do something which they're not going to do within the time now we need it. So instead of giving that power to them, this is what we do for ourselves. And even within the community. Is anybody working on some gems right now? Because let there also not be the thought out there that some people have, for instance, speaking of the fact that, you know, I'm a black, amazing, beautiful girl who is queer, and some people will then address you sometimes as in that it's only a hard thing, that being black is a hard thing, and then also a woman and queer, as if all of these organizations and people that are sitting here, their life is only hard, you know?
No,
The victim narrative.
I can
Yeah,
respond to
right.
that.
That you're only a
Yeah,
victim. All you do is fight. You absolutely fight, but you also are aware of the fact that you are standing and breathing, and you know that you are.
Yeah.
And also
Yeah, I
building,
can
building,
respond to
building,
that.
building. Yes, Alejandra, please.
I'm dying to talk about it.
Yes, no.
In a European context or an American and a Western context, refugees are these creatures that are coming to take freebies and to destroy civilization. And what we want to do, despite all the being pushed on the corner, despite all the problems, despite being seen this way, just like you mentioned about when you talk about being black, like, oh, must suck to be you. No, we want to change it. And that's why we finally this year we said we have to start this project, this Papaya Queer project, because we want to create art. We want to show that we are definitely much more than what, in this case, Dutch society, the Dutch government deemed us to be, these helpless, useless people. No. We are artists, we are writers, we are musicians, we do performances. We can do everything, and that's what we want to do, and what we've been doing and want to do next year. Take care of our community, raise awareness of the specific issues that affect trans, queer, trans Latin refugees in the Netherlands and in Europe, and we want to create. We want to be seen more and to show that we really are more than this sad mainstream idea.
Indeed, that's sad. You know, waiting for a handout while half of the time you don't even know how I am probably putting something in your pocket, you know?
Agreed. And from where I stand, just quickly to add,
please.
pity never helped anybody I know.
Cheating?
Pity.
Oh, pity, yeah, indeed.
It never helped anybody I know. So I never operate from a place of pity. And anybody who does that, I'm always quick to snap it out of them. Because ultimately, if you pity somebody, you're doing it to make yourself feel better. You're not doing it because you care.
Right? Tell, please. So what are you working on? Is there anything you're working on? Any projects, maybe even for 2021 you would like to share premiere with us?
Well, I am just trying to keep the group alive. That's just the goal.
Alive, healthy and alive.
Yeah. Well, if I'm correct, you're all the municipality. That's what Sorab talked about a little bit shortly earlier. Is asking us, the municipality of Amsterdam. Hello, municipality of Amsterdam. They're basically asking a lot of LGBTQI plus organization to work together to form an alliance with this much money. So the whole setup of the municipality is quite problematic, and in that way we are they want us to work together for more togetherness and more strategic to strategize our goals, basically. But the whole setup is completely wrong, and this is what I also mean with how policy is written by people who are not those people. Let's say these are written by ambtenaar, by how do you say ambtenaren, by well, people that are not the target group they are written for. This is a very problematic thing because we don't fit that narrative. That narrative is very the problematics of how you set up a subsidy. It's not for us. It doesn't apply to us. So in that sense, we are busy now. First of all, with complaining to the municipality, or not complaining, but institutional critiquing them. And I think that's a lot of our work, at least at Queer Salon Manifesto, to institutionally critique the people that are making the rules and putting out the money. On the other hand, the alliance has a good point in terms of wanting us to work together. So what is very exciting for me or for us is that we are around a round table with a lot of partners, actually the big ones and the small ones, to work together. And I think what you just said, I think Paula, is very good, that there is a lot. We also see when we are together that there is a lot of trauma. You know, we are traumatized people. We have been excluded and oppressed and violated our whole life. And I think it's a very core thing that we have to recognize that we all have trauma, but we need as a community to really come together. It's not about the municipality even, it's about ourselves. And for me, it's a big question for 2021, how we will do that, and also first overcome the violence that we also put on each other in our own community, and really think and do in an intersectional way. And I think that conversation at least has started. And everybody who's watching, please join us, because the more the merrier. And please, it's time now to form something that we can fight for our own narratives and against the normative, powerful standards, let's say. And I think it's time for that. And with this, I like to make a call to anybody who would like to join us, to mail one of us.
Well,
everyone.
You
get it.
Gonna join. I like
the watchers. Well, everybody, we will find a place for everybody. It seems impossible, but to recognize those traumas, I think, is very important in that process. And I hope we can move along in getting more agency and over what we want to be, basically, and create the conditions to it, and put pressure on the institutions which we are dependent on.
Yes. Thimothy, can I ask you, maybe if you see for the Caribbean Queer Network, do you see a role for yourself as an organization in there?
Definitely, because I think it ties into everything that everyone has said before about having your authentic voice, accessing more resources, and then building on that. So definitely, I do see a role. And everybody that is in this chat currently has been really supportive to me personally and professionally. So I can vouch for that.
Absolutely. And because with again, there is a call out. So please, if you have questions, indeed, also for right now in the panel, or if you would like to say, indeed, yes, I want to join, type it so we can talk about it here in the chat. If you have a question, please don't hesitate, but type it and I will ask the question for you, or we will read it below here. I'm going to ask Papaya Queer a little bit about, because I've seen it coming under a few times. Tomorrow there's a screening of a film. Hey, there it is. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Who can tell us a little bit about that? The film pairing Limbos para Legales by
Yes.
Limbos para
Papaya
legales.
Kuir. Oh, para Legales, yes. I said that.
Yeah, so the film really like was actually born out of one of these encounters that we had. It's a film that we did in collaboration with Sundari, also with the help of Alejandra. Yeah, it was about really also our desire to create. So it really also came out of like, okay, like we were very depressing the situation of like some of our like of Sundari and like quite some of our members is quite is worrying, man. It's like it's really it's bad, it's daring. I'm so like so admirable how you fight with this every like it's intense. And she's a musician and I'm a performer, I'm a dancer. And then we had this invitation to do. I had this invitation to do something for something that you were also inside me, like for the through the window. It was an exhibition between Istanbul and Amsterdam. Also transnational, and yeah, it really went out of the desire. Like we want to create something, we want to create politics, but through art, because we want to live and that values give us joy. So also prioritizing our joy. Sundari is a beautiful also poet and sociologist. Like while she's a refugee, she's studying and she's a university student. You know, these narratives, and also yeah, and I guess it was also the first materialization of like, you know, something like an creation of something that we have been dreaming with Alejandra since 2 years, and of coming together and standing for ourselves and doing something that is not I'm asking for help or I'm so depressed. That is also, of course, but yeah, so come. It's also our first film.
12 o'clock, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
yes,
it's
12. Good. And yeah, thank you. Timothy, what has inspired you lately? I think we asked that question to everybody a little bit. What inspired you? Do you have something? Because if correct, the Reduxi has maybe even a video or something.
Yes. Well, I have a video. It's from the series Pose. They're doing production on season 3, but seasons 1 and 2 are out. And I think just generally speaking, film and TV representation of trans people, migrants, people from the global south has gotten a lot better. So I'm drawing my inspiration from that because visibility is everything.
Yeah, so let's have a look at this piece of fragment, please.
The category is Legendary Runway. Who will prove themselves to be mother of all mothers on the Parisian runway? Dare anyone challenge? Reigning femme queen, Electra Abundance, going once, going twice. No one? Legendary children, I do correct myself. A challenge has been issued. Clear the floor or prepare to be trampled by the magnificence you are about to witness. Walking against Electra Abundance, Blanca Evangelista.
Yeah, I still remember that moment because what did it give you? What did it give you? It was indeed
lots of energy, and I feel like it's a metaphor for our community because there are a lot of times where we are in competition with each other and we can be very catty and very mean, and then 2 seconds later it's like, oh girlfriend, I love you, oh, and I'm here for you, and it's very
yeah. Thank you. Zohrab and Aynouk, do you also maybe have even a fragment of a video or an image that you would like to share with us?
No, we didn't, because we were so freakingly busy with forming this alliance of like all the grassroots organization here on the floor in Amsterdam. But for me, like what inspired me this year was the Black Pride. The fact that in the Netherlands in 2020, after Stonewall, after 52 years of Stonewall, they had to organize a Black Pride says something about how institutionalized racism is being set in this country, and how the queer rights are being whitewashed and used as rainbow flag to promote themselves as the gay capital of the world, while we as community face so many problems, and the way they organize it, and my friend Naomi, she's like, for me, she's now the hero, and I talk every time we
Naomi Peter, we
Naomi
thank
Peter,
you.
yeah.
We thank you.
We mourn for the heroes, but let's not only look back, because since we are traumatized people, we look always back. But if we look in within our communities, we have heroes among us, and I think she's one of the leaders, one of the people, and also the people here taking the lead and orchestrating and organizing things that are so fucking important. So yeah, I think I think she put a very nice example on how to build our own tables.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. And
I want to add that it's the. Can I, Mini? Like, or do you want to talk? Well, I just want to say a very short thing that momentum now. Also, all the people are watching this great International Queer Migrant Film Festival has been doing this kind of work already for a lot of years. Please, like, thank you for all the warriors in this field. But the time is now.
Exactly.
The time is now. You know, people.
The time is now.
In my family, that people are like, yeah, and you know, like the Black Lives Matter movement, but also Naomi for Black and Trans Pride. We can be this. We can have our identity, and it's also very important to shut out the internal shame that patriarchy has learned upon us.
oh yes,
Internal shame about I cannot look like this because I'm a less of a human being. I cannot be a refugee. I cannot be this non-binary entity. You can, you know.
You can and you are.
But I'm very busy also in reducing to myself the internalized shame that a white colonial cisgendered heteronormative narrative has given me, and it's a lot of work to do that. But if you're there, you're like, I'm free.
yeah.
I can be on this. My identity is worthy, and you are worthy. Everybody who's watching, please, you are so worthy, and please if you recognize that in yourself, you have a lot to give, and we can grow as a community and as a people, you know. And I'm sounding very Obama-like, but I do feel it.
No. I'm here tearing up.
Please put up that internalized, criticized shame when you look in the mirror and say, no, that's not right. It's patriarchy, it's colonial narrative, and if you find that in yourself,
Yes.
Together, and this is the time. I really
we
think
are
this
the
is the
heroes.
time.
We are the heroes.
So come here.
This is the second, even, you know, the second. Like, you know, there is no time. There is a second. Like you give a blink with your eyes. But I thought, as queer as Manifesto, as the motherfuckers of them all, I thought like we were having a film of the single story.
No. We have to do still with the communication, but also that is fine. That is fine.
No, but like everyone Google it. The danger of the single story.
Yeah. Again, repeat it.
The danger of the single story on YouTube.
On YouTube.
You have to watch it.
Of the single story.
And it's a Nigerian writer, and like it's fantastic. And like, you know, I'm from clubbing situation, and like even people, if they are even high, I put this 20-minute video on, and they hate me because they don't have time for that. But I still put it on, and I think like everyone should hear this. You know?
Thank you. And Paula or Alejandra, do you also? Oh wait, I have a question. Can you also see the question?
Could we also for Alejandra and for me? Could we have a space to answer about inspiration?
Yes, absolutely. Oh no, I thought you were going to answer now, and then we're going to go to a question because I want you to give you that space also.
But well, Paula and I were talking about what inspired us recently, and three images came to mind. And we're going to be very brief because I know we're running out of time. The first images was the trans sex workers from Bogota who were ready to be part of Pride Bogota, and their car was sabotaged. And even without, they still walked on, and they made it happen, even without a car, even about being sabotaged, really, really in purpose. The other example for us is very powerful is Sehag. Sehag, they do so much work, and they are our inspiration, and they do more than what we see they do, and they are just wonderful. And the last is Giovanna Rincon. Giovanna Rincon is a Colombian trans woman, former sex workers, HIV positive activist. She's the head of Acceptance Test in Paris. And if no one knows, in during the previous lockdown, and probably on this one too, hundreds of trans sex workers in Bois de Boulogne in Paris were left out with no income to pay rent, to pay food, nothing. And Giovanna risked her health to bring food to hundreds of trans sex workers. So, Giovanna, eres mi héroe.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And because indeed it needs to be said out loud. And thank you indeed for sure this conversation, this putting out there your thoughts, your mind, and but also the because what I got out of it is that indeed, if you do not speak for yourself, they will, and you will not like their version of the story. We know that. I mean, we're reading history books right now, right? Somebody wrote that shit about me, but it's version. So, let's indeed not forget, do not play to that film they are putting onto you, but also the search for freedom that a lot of us are doing. It's here. Clear it here, find it here, get it here. And within there, getting there, we need to be able to talk, speak out loud, have those conversations with each other, say no when you want to say no, say yes when you do, change your mind every freaking day, but stay true to you. But it's here. And we know that. So let them also understand that. So thank you so much for this heartfelt convo, which I want to, of course, continue longer. And there was one question, because I think somebody had a question who could, how can I make this community more visible? And how are you as an organization plan to be more visible? Can we go into this real quick? Who wants to go into this real quick?
Maybe I just wanted to jump in about visibility, because also like connecting it to the last question of inspiration, and that there is also a lot of work that is not visible, and that for us, like also it's a discussion that we had, like, yeah, we want to be visible, but actually a lot of the work that our community does is work that is invisible.
Yeah.
It's not on the social media, it's not on the big screen, it's not on thousands of likes, it's really like the day-to-day small things of really supporting and being back of the scene. So particularly us as Papaya Queer, we're like both discussing about like how to be visible in terms of like that our presence exists, because there is none at the moment. So that just to exist in the public discourse and political discourse. And then also do a lot of invisible work and do not underestimate the importance of that actually. And so we're like ready to be in the back door doing all the dirty work with no face being seen.
Absolutely. And
everybody has the privilege to be visible. Like a lot of the people that are they cannot have social media, they cannot be on panels, they cannot have they don't have paper. So they're
and not only that, it's harmful to some of the safety of certain vulnerable groups too, just the visibility. So
so that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And don't underestimate, indeed, the things that you can do offline or without telling everybody, but do your part in indeed, again, opening the conversations in your work, at home, just that, and here, that space here. But indeed, thank you for clearing that up. Not everybody is as privileged to speak out loud and to be visible, but those who are, thank you for doing so. Thank you for connecting with us here online, offline. Please, everybody, please keep being you, and stay safe out there, stay healthy out there, so that we can meet each other again it be tomorrow, it be 2021. But thanks again for this conversation today.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Please,
Thank
to the viewers, online, check the program. If you were like, yeah, who was that again? Please follow these organizations, because, yeah, indeed. Queer is not a manifesto, Papaya Queer and Caribbean Queer Salon. Check it out, find it online, do your research where it's needed, and stay connected with us. Yes, on and offline. Thank you again, IQMF Festival, for letting me do this talk and being a part of all of this. Have a very good and safe Friday evening. I hope to meet you again soon. My name is Jennifer Minslag. Thank you very much and goodbye. Peace out. Stay healthy.
Thank you.